Okay. So that immediately activates itself. Apparently it does. Yeah. Well, hello, without warning, non-existent audience. To I don't know, completely pointless stream from some random idiot fiddling around in practice mode in Injustice 2 and talking about ways to fix some problems with the characters. And emphasis on the random idiot, because I hardly expect that these opinions would be listened to or taken terribly seriously. And I'm starting with what would be obvious to people who pay the slightest bit of attention to the tournament scene. Captain Cold. Poor bugger. Got so little going for him at the moment. So, considering that there's only a couple of things that I can currently think of to adjust, or that I would change, or, you know, suggestions, well, they all pretty much revolve around his character power. Yeah, so it's like 4 seconds or so, if I was timing that correctly, 3 to 4 seconds to fully charge it, which doesn't seem like much. But when you consider how much damage some characters can do in 1 second during a combo, I wouldn't suggest that it's safe to just stand there and do that. When you watch the AI play as Captain Cold, it'll just be like that every few seconds. And that charges a fixed amount, I suppose. But, quite seriously, before anyone would want to leap down my throat and tear my guts out, I would say don't have him make his... Don't make him charge his character power. He is the only character so far in the game that has to manually charge up their character power before they can use it. You know, Firestorm players complained about hardly ever getting a chance to actually use their character power in a fight, or at least hardly ever getting a chance to use it at level 3. So they added a power for him to charge it faster, but it still charges up automatically. Captain Cold, no, you have to do it manually. And that just absolutely sucks, because he doesn't have much in the way that of tools that will allow him to create the space or the time to just sit there and charge it. When I play against the AI, because the AI, especially on lower difficulty settings, is stupid. You know, it can just cheat. It's not clever, it just cheats or does nothing. I will do that and sit behind that to charge it up. Because unless it's being really aggressive, it won't do anything that will actually break the block. But any projectiles will break the block. The ice block, that is. Any projectiles will break it. It's... You know, anyone can jump over it, anyone can air dash over it, anyone who has an air dash, obviously. Anyone with a teleport can teleport around it. And while you're behind it, you can't... Oh no, you can. But it's not... He doesn't have such effective counter-zoning in the form of that and that. That he, you know, and his regular projectile isn't so great. Ignore what Superman there is doing, because I was... okay. Anyway, once I get on from... stop making his character power manually charge and make it 3... because he's got 3 abilities, right? I'm pretty sure people are aware of this. He's got... when it's fully charged, he's got the down 4, which is the full screen freeze. When it's at level 2, he's got the forward 4, which is that, which is probably the best of the 3. And that was the one that was the subject of the big nerf, I believe. And then his level 1 is the ice armor, which just makes them take damage when they hit him. But the point I was going to say, why I've got Superman doing a reversal, first of all, change his character power so it's the 3 abilities. Make it so it's like down, back, 4. We'll do the ice shield, ice armor. Make it so it's down, forward, 4. So you go to do that. And then just down, down, 4 to get the full screen freeze. And make it so that there's a cooldown when the effect finishes. So if you use this, it goes through the duration, and once it's finished, there's a recharge time before you can use any of his character power abilities again. Now that sort of does, in effect, nerf his character power, because if you had it charged like that twice, you can do the ice armor, and then as soon as the ice armor is finished, you can do it again once it finishes. So that does kind of nerf that, but I'd change the cooldowns to be different so that, it's shorter after using the ice armor. But of course, as I said, make it so that after the ice armor is finished, then it starts a cooldown. After the big snow globe is finished, that's when it starts a cooldown. And hell, because that causes a freeze, if it does cause a freeze, maybe you could wait until after the freeze is broken before it starts the cooldown. And then you'd have the longest cooldown after the full screen freeze. Although, as far as I'm concerned, I reckon you could reduce the size of the freeze. I mean, I know it's kind of interesting to have a full screen freeze, but what exactly is the utility of that for a character that then has to get across the screen to do anything with it? It's a bit dumb. So, anyway, so that would be that. Change it so his character power works with cooldowns rather than... and that doesn't even... So there's a gap between his 1 and 2, but it's not big enough to be thrown through. Anyway, so on to how I would change the actual abilities of Captain Cold. Well, I think they kind of work as they are, except the armor, the ice armor, has got this obnoxious thing of all it does is make your opponent take damage for hitting you, and not a lot of damage. And as you can see, like, okay, he throws me, I take 103.75. I would just change it so that it also reduces the damage you take. So that it actually is like armor. Rather than just being thorns, it is also armor. Because then it would still be purely defensive. Because they'd have to be hitting you close up to be taking damage from it. And in the meantime, it's allowed you to be able to take reduced damage. If you're taking reduced damage, if you activate your armor and you go in and you get a full combo, well, you've kind of wasted your character power when you could, in theory, get part of a combo and get a freeze. So, if you've changed it to the cooldowns, then if your character power is available and you get a chance for a punish, or, you know, something, you block something and you can go, and then you could just do the down 4 to a full freeze, and then follow up with a forward 3 and, you know, get a meterless combo, but then you've got like a horrendously long cooldown before you can do good meterless damage again, like 10 seconds or something, before you can recharge for level 3, which is, you know, like twice, a bit over twice as long as it currently takes. I mean, these are rough numbers, they're just suggestions, but I mean, that's crap damage, obviously, because I don't really know how to do good damage with Captain Cold. I just find him vaguely fun. So, I mean, yeah, and then, because the thing of nerfing the snow globe thing is kind of crap and annoying. Because look at that. If you're at full screen, it sort of acts like a counter-zoning tool because it makes them not want to go there, but most of the characters in this game have either methods of getting in from full screen pretty quickly, or they've got projectiles. And most of them are likely better than Captain Cold's. Yeah, so I mean, yeah, that's I'd change it so there's like different cooldown times after the effects have finished, and the longest cooldown would be after the instant freeze, because it activates instantly and it's not like it has a duration on it. And yeah, change the ice armor to reduce damage taken as well as deal thorn damage, because the thorn damage is crap. It's very low, quite minimal. But if you were taking reduced damage at the same time, you know, it could be effective if used at full screen, where, you know, if Soups is hitting you with his bloody eye lasers at full screen, he's not going to be taking thorn damage, I think. There's a thought. Reversal attack. Heat vision, yeah. Yes, heat vision. So. Yeah, he doesn't take thorn damage from that stuff. So, yeah. In short, change his abilities, his character power, to be the 3 different moves he can do, but as special moves that then have a cooldown after their effect ends, rather than having to be manually charged, unless you're going to change it so that he gets really easy chances to manually charge it, because I think they reduced the freeze duration. Well, no, wait, I should just, yeah, I think I'm done with that. No. Did I block off? Stop it! Yeah. That doesn't last very long. Neither does that. So that's, yeah, before they can retaliate, you can't get to level 2. And that's not taking advantage of the fact that you just spent meter and not extending a combo, despite having just spent meter. So, yeah. That's pretty much it. Change his character power, and then from there, you can start seeing if that works enough. Change his character power so that he can actually use it reliably when he wants to. rather than having to do something first to prepare. So that's about as safe as you can get. Charging to the first bar, and then charging another bar. And then you can't quite get to it. That's special cancelling into his character power, just to charge it. That's lame. Nobody else has to do that. That's probably better. I've got his ability higher than his strength, so it's much better to try and finish his combos with. The computer does this weird thing where it does that. It'll land a forward 3 and go back 2, back forward 1. And then, yeah, because the computer can land stuff that's actually, like, impossible because it doesn't have to worry about recovery frames or startup frames or actually displaying the animation because it can just cheat. I've been saying that why not make it so that there's you know, 1, 2, down, back 3 of any kind. I mean, oops. Ah. Get out of the way. If I do 1, 2 too quickly, it acts as though it wants to do the environment interaction, because even though I've told it to disable the... Wait a minute, what? I told you not to do that! I turned all of those off. Why are they on again? I turned them off. Yes, turn them all off. Save. Yes, I want to save. I want to make sure that it stays saved. What the hell? No, it's still doing it anyway. Doesn't matter that I'm hitting them really quickly, but it thinks I want... It toggles multi-button inputs for single-button moves, throws, etc. As well as, you know, because you can do 1 and 3 for a throw, or you can do 1 and 2 for environment interaction. I turn it off, and... Oh, mate, are you working now? No, you're not working. Anyway, yeah, his 1, 2, down, back 3 doesn't combo because that is slow to start up. What is that on startup? Big freeze, down, back 3. 21 frames. It's not that slow. There's obviously just not enough. Yeah, there's only 2 frames of hit advantage. And, well, 23 frames cancel advantage, but... Cancel into that, fine, because that's like 12 frames. Yeah, because you can't go... There's no mix-up because... Oh, that'll combo. That combos. Standing 1 into down, back 3 combos. But 1, 2 into down, back 3 doesn't? The hell? What? What's the advantage on his... 8 frames hit advantage. As opposed to the 2 frames of hit advantage on that. I mean, what a rort. It's a complete rort. You're screwing us over. I mean, that's asking for a 50-50, obviously, but it's still a 50-50 where that is more reactable than that. Damn it. mean, yeah, I don't know why it is that I actually kind of enjoy Captain Cold, other than maybe it's because he's really simple. He doesn't have a lot, so he's kind of easy to figure out. It's also really easy to figure out that he's crap. And, like, the only, what was it, like, people, I haven't seen actual matchup lists. I've seen people do tier lists, not that I pay too much attention. But I've not seen matchup lists or anything, but the way I understood it, basically he was good against characters like Catwoman and possibly the Flash. Like, the Flash has got his Running Man stance reel, and then he'll do the big thing across, because he's got that. And they reduced the duration on that as well, I think. Because if you could put that out and then start charging, you know, when you're forcing them to start jumping at you or something instead of running. But that combos? It's ridiculous. Alright, yeah, what I need to do there. No, that didn't work either. Yeah, anyway, he doesn't have much, so it was really easy to figure out that he's sort of like a setup utility. Like, if everyone else, like, not everyone, but if so many other characters in this game weren't so great at zoning, he would have alright counter zoning. But there are two problems with that. People like Deadshot, for one, and Supergirl, obviously. And the size of the screen. Look how bloody big this screen is. That's full screen. Like, the only reason that people got it, you know, managed to complain about bloody lack of zoning, as it were, people saying, oh, zoning's not really a thing in MKX, is because the full screen in that was probably here. Yeah. Yeah, like a full dash's worth of distance. Yeah. So you take that into account. He's got a good mid. And there's another screwy thing. That's his forward 2-3. Wait a minute, no, it's the forward 2-3-3. It says that has cancel advantage. It does not. Oops. Basically trying every special he has, and it is not cancelling into it. Yeah. So that's just lying. That says cancel 24. Like, if that's cancelled by the 20th frame or something like that, I don't know what 20 frames cancel advantage, whatever. You cannot special cancel that string. You can special cancel that, but not that. And the full string's -6 on block. I usually just end up using it to finish combos, but I probably shouldn't be, because that's how close it leaves them, and Cold really doesn't want to be that close. Because that's what, like 11 frames, I think, is mid, which is, you know, it's nice. But this game's not as much about mids. And he's got his down 1. That's, I mean, that's about it. That string, I mean, yeah, there's another thing. That back 232 would be a good string. I mean, it is a good string, but it would be a much better string if it had a mid in it somewhere. It's all highs. It's got good reach. I don't think it has any gaps, even after the second hit. I don't think it's got any gaps. It's fast on startup, fast to finish, pretty quick between each hit. It can armor break if you've got somebody doing a slow thing like Bane doing a Bane charge with Venom active. And he stands up, you hit him with that, and you'll break the armor. So, I mean, that's good, but if the final hit were a mid, considering there's a pause, I don't think there's a gap, but there is a pause. Back 232. Yes, I mean, like, it's, yeah, 4 frames startup on the second attack, but it's a 17 frame startup on the third attack. But that's got 13 frame hit advantage, and it's 0 on block, but that's, so if you block it, then you could probably interrupt, before the third hit. Yeah, you could probably interrupt between the second and third hit if you block it. I don't know about, well, I mean, obviously there's only interrupting if you block, because if you don't block, then you're getting hit, so... But you can just crouch it, because they're all highs. But you might, if you see the, if you're crouching and those two things go ahead, above you, you might not be able to react in time to the third hit. And if the third hit were a mid, then you'd still be blocking. And that might warrant the fact that it's only, well, I guess, yeah, it's +2, okay, it's plus on block. But it's a 17 frame startup high that's only 2 on block, +2 on block. I mean, it's a bit crap. If it were a mid, it would be a bit more tolerable, I think. But I just use that as I mean, I only play against the AI, so, take it with a grain of salt. I find that a great punishing tool. If they jump in, it's like, okay, start a combo. Something like that, Except not that, because that can't be max damage. I see that did the same damage as the uppercut and then the forward 2-3, so... Ugh. Come on. Oops. Well, that was 2 bars. That's a bit of a waste. I'm usually okay with it, as long as I'm only spinning 1 bar. But as I said, I'm playing against the computer. It's different when you're playing against people. When you're playing against people, you want to be staying away. I often do that against the computer as well. Wait for them to come to me and then hit them with that. Or again, if they start getting too close, you can... It's not great. It doesn't have the... It is advancing, but it's not the best reach. So it is 11 frames. You've got these 3 strings that all do similar damage. Yeah. Well, anyway, I think it's enough bemoaning the problems with Captain Cold. I mean, that would be fun for keeping people away. It'd be nice if it, froze them if they touched it, but it's just there to block their path. And it doesn't do a great job of that, because projectiles will destroy it. Like, if let's do this again. reversal. Reversal on heat vision. Yeah. And yeah, it is just it's not good enough, except against maybe like Black Canary. But even then, I'm sure her Canary Cry would go through it. And when you think about, like, in terms of the rushdown close-up characters, the only one that actually, I mean, seriously lacks mobility is Canary, and she still has the what was it, down forward 3, down back 3. They're just not as good as, like, what Flash can do with the Running Man stance, or Catwoman's Cat Dash. You know, Cheetah and Grodd have their leaps. They get them almost full screen. So if Cheetah does her leap and then does the attack she can do from the leap, that'll take you full screen with an overhead. It's kind of reactable, but it's not, you know, it's not nothing. Whereas that, I mean, yeah, that's pretty ineffective. And the thing of, like, this was good against the Flash and Catwoman because it would definitely stop a Cat Dash. Stop the Cat Dash, but only because they removed armor from the Cat Dash, from the Meter Burn Cat Dash, which is the one that goes full screen. So you take the armor on that away, you know, Captain Cold is a counter to that, with either, you know, the puddle or with that. But of course, Catwoman has that great jump too, with all that range on it. You know, Flash, yeah, okay, you don't deny the Running Man stance with that, but then he can still... I've seen something like stuff that Honeybee will do, where he just sort of keep activating and cancelling the Running Man stance, just to build meter. Or keep doing the, what's it called? Quantum tunneling? The projectile evade? Just to build meter and avoid any, like, projectiles and sort of say, okay, eventually you're going to have to deal with me no matter what. So that is not fast enough to deal with projectiles from everyone. You have to do that on prediction. Because that's, I think it's 12 frame startup. Or where is it? Yeah, 12 frame startup. It'll stop a projectile. That'll stop all projectiles. I've seen, you know, Deadshot try and do a machine gun. And you meter burn that just eats all the bullets. But you can't do that on reaction. You could do it on reaction to heat vision, no, heat zap, that's it. See, I did that too early. But you could do it on reaction to that move, because that is, I think, the slowest projectile in the game. But I also think it's the most damaging projectile in the game as well. Anyway, that's enough about how bad Captain Cold is. He's still kind of fun to play. I don't know why. I'm not normally partial to setup type characters. Actually, no, that's not everything.
Captain Cold.
There was something I didn't.
Fighters approaching Fortress of Solitude.
Have I been prattling on about Captain Cold for half an hour? I have. I want him to be better, because I actually kind of enjoy playing him. Now, he does not have rushdown tools. He's not, like, he's got that, but he can't necessarily be aggressive with that, because it's all highs. That doesn't push you terribly far, and it leaves you close to him. But if he gets you in the corner, well, this is the thing. They nerfed his grenade thing, because I think it was this combined with this. In the corner was just a, yeah, just a nightmare. It might have even been this combined with the meter version of that, because that freezes as well, I think. Yeah, that freezes as well. It just takes ages to do it. Quite frankly, that move sucks. Because look at how it's slow to start up. It affects a really small area. Now it stacks. Isn't that wonderful? They didn't need to nerf the utility of his character power if the problem was that it's stacked with this. Just make them not stack. That's all you really needed to do. Make them not stack. Make the abilities not stack. If you've got the level 2 cyclotron thing going, have it not combine with that. But anyway, the point I was going to make is that if you get them in the corner, there is a potential... Actually, no, I think you don't even need to be in the corner. I was testing that just before. Yeah. If you... Because of the timing on that. But you have to be able to time it exactly. Otherwise it just doesn't work properly. Yeah, and that left him... Yeah, not quite close enough. But the idea being it's an overhead and a low. Yeah, he can still block that low. That's the thing. If there's that much time between and you're holding down, you'll block it. Because you can block that, it is a low. That's the timing. Yeah. That's about it. An overhead low, hard to block. But of course, it's not a terribly hard to block because if the low hits first and they block the low, then they get hit by the icicle, and that's, I mean, that does practically nothing. The only reason, yeah, because of the delay is the only reason it has any sort of hit advantage type issues. If you want the overhead to hit first, so that they have to block the overhead, and then get hit by the low freeze, because if the low hits first and they're blocking low, then if the setup doesn't work. If the low hits second and they're blocking low, they get hit by the overhead, which opens them up to getting frozen. So, yeah. Basically, if the overhead hits first and they block it first, and then the low, that will freeze them. You want them to try to block the thing that they definitely don't want to get hit by. And then get hit by something else. See, that didn't work. Normally it should be... You can see it when it says 3 hits. I'm sure I'm not the only person to have ever done this, and I'm probably the least qualified to discuss the issue, but... I mean, this is about all he has in terms of dirt at the moment. That did all 3 hits, but didn't freeze him. I landed all 3 hits and didn't freeze. But, like, the point being, if you're in the corner is when they don't really have much option. Ugh. Anyway, yeah, and it's not reliable. It's I don't even have the computer, and if you have to set the computer to block, obviously it can block, because unless those things hit on the same frame, it can block them, and it won't. The game doesn't allow you to have things hit on the same frame and work. That was what the whole thing in MKX with Summoner Quan Chi was that you know, if you were blocking high or low, and both the overhead and low hit on the same frame, then you would block, because it doesn't allow you to have an overhead and low hit on the same frame. You have to hit them, or you have to time them separately. Of course, the real issue with Summoner Quan Chi was more the fact that
Green Lantern, Superman.
Oops. Wait.
Fighters approaching.
Summoner Quan Chi was
fortress of
the thing was
solitude.
that he could do it either overhead low or low overhead and still combo from it. Originally, anyway. But yeah, that's about the best that Captain Cold has to offer right now. Now, this is less of a predictive discussion thing and more of a investigative. What was I wanting to do? That's right. I was mucking around with Lantern and could swear... Oh, wait, that's not what I did. Oh, okay. So it's back... It's not back 3. It's not back 3. Back 1, 3. Back 1, 3, 4. Down back 2. Anyway, okay, 256. $240. Right, so it does allow you to do more damage, but what was it that... Alright. That's what it was. So you can only go the 2-2. You can't go 2-2-3 when you use the ring. Right. That was a bad idea. Yeah, I could have sworn that it... Yeah. But that was what it was. I was doing back 1, 2... 1, 3, 4. Yeah. I was doing 2, 2, 3. You can still land it. 263. Oh, wait a minute. Let's just gotta time it right. Ugh. Ugh. 270. Okay, so yeah, right. It does do better. Right. Come on. Right. Yeah, so the thing was, I was thinking if you could do anything. Yeah. So you can get more damage using ring overcharge, but not a lot. This is what this bit of theory was about. Was it actually worth using ring overcharge in your combos? So you can't get a jump attack in that one. Alright. It's a bit better. I do like using that. And he's got the standard low. Then go for advancing high with an overhead. And try and catch people that are blocking low. It's like, oh, a high, and then bang. Yeah. Of course, the other thing is, what does that do? 82. So it does a piddly amount of extra damage. Okay, what about that? Is that 111? 111.76. 117. Right. So it slightly increases the damage of all constructs, but by a piddly amount. That knocks back. Overcharged. Eh. What are the others? We've got Lantern's Might. Bring Lantern Laser, whatever the fuck that's called. That's called Overcharged Lantern. Oh yeah, back forward too, that's right. And when that's overcharged, more damage and it causes a knockdown. Ooh. Interesting. Okay, there's that. What about that? 111.76. Oh, 117. These are some really familiar numbers. Yeah, it's just, I mean, that's a splat. Come on. That was one bar. Starting with that string. Does that not work? Does not. And what does that do on its own? 62. 65. As well as giving me a little bounce. Okay, so you... Okay. Theory point question answered. 254. I gotta time that right. Alright. Yeah. So it sort of does. I suppose the point is, if you can land that, then that's meterless, whereas you would, that's what you would get meterless. No. 89.4. Yeah, that's the projectile. Yeah. That's the one for damage, if you want the damage, is the back forward too. Oh, I didn't realize there was a 4 hit to that. Holy crap! Holy hell, that's a much better one. I mean, I think the stats on my Lantern are not very good, but the problem is Lantern just doesn't seem to do very good damage. But I think part of the idea, and he's got terrible mobility. Right? Forward dash is alright, look at that, it's a pretty good forward dash. It's a really crap back dash. He doesn't have an air dash. He's got an air projectile though. I do think the intent with the design of Lantern was to make him counter zone, kind of like Aquaman, be defensive and counter zone with the same actual input, down back 2, except you have to go down back 2 forward for the fully distant Lantern. And at the extreme of the screen, it doesn't always hit. Yeah, I get it. Yeah, slightly inconsistent at full screen, but I do think the intent with him was to be counter zoning, largely because of that. I don't know why they gave him Tremor's projectile, but he can hit you in the air. That's me attempting to get an instant air projectile. Yeah. Yeah. He's got... It's funny that they kind of designed him to, by the looks of it, I mean, again, this is my inexpert opinion and impressions of these things, to be kind of defensive and counter zone in a game full of zoners. Well, I mean, with a lot of zoners. And yet, yeah, you know, his forward walk speed or float speed is far superior to his backwards movement. His backdash is complete garbage. But that's his forward dash. Zoom. Yeah, not in range for the forward three. What else does he have? Back two, forward two. Yeah, obviously he's got a down two. Yeah. 1, 2, 3. Back 1, 2, and back 1, 3. Yeah. 2, 2, 3, 1. Back 2, 3, 3. Forward 2, down 1. Forward 2, down 1, 3. Yeah. That's a high damaging string, man. Maybe we should try ending combos with that. Ugh. No, you can't. Yeah, not that one. Ugh. No. Maybe if I wait a bit. No, he doesn't come back close enough. Not quite. Now there's a mix-up you can create. As well as that. You go low or low overhead. Except that low overhead can't lead to a full combo. No, that doesn't lead to a full combo either. Yeah, it's a hard string to use. Unless you want to use it in the neutral. Since they're mids. A minor damage increase. Yeah, you can't combo from it. Damn it. Alright, well, that's enough out of Lantern. Yeah, I just wanted to fiddle with some stuff, see if I could... Yeah. Mainly to test that theory of whether or not his character power was actually useful, and turns out it is, technically, but you also don't need it to do more damage. Depends on what attacks you use. I guess they're just talking about, because you can keep using the back 2, or sorry, the back 1 in the neutral for the, you know, the back 1-2 for the low overhead. It advances too, so I mean you can keep using that to poke with. Yeah. Oh, there's a thing I wanted to check out.
Deadshot. Superman.
I swear, and I
Fighters
know
approaching Fortress of Solitude.
I do think I put PC in the title of the stream because, I mean, to be aware of the fact that the PC is usually behind console versions. It looks like yeah, Deadshot hasn't been nerfed on the PC. Unless that's the nerf. Because that didn't, if that's not how it was before, that's not much of a difference. I think the thing was, though, yeah, it's... You can't, it's... No, it still works. He's, yeah. He's not been nerfed on PC. I see the computer still going like there's no recovery on that. Probably because there isn't. What the hell? Recover? Not applicable? No wonder it was so bullshit. No recovery, as in, yeah, it just doesn't have to recover. Yeah. So that means the PC version is way behind. Because I think they did finally just get the Batman nerf in one of the last patch or two that we had to his character power, where it makes them charge a lot slower. But that, yeah, no recovery. Okay, it's -16 on block. But, and you can cancel it? Wait a minute, why can you cancel a special move? Yeah, so, okay. I like that string, actually. So that's the forward 1, 2, 3. It's a point blank thing. But if you've got your character power active, It's a normal that's affected by his character power. That's forward, isn't it? $177 and 8 hits. 173 and 8 hits. It's another thing I've seen recently, watching, because I get the AI to fight for me most of the time. Because, quite frankly, I kind of can't stand playing this game. I get to be a lot about theory. Auto, stance, always. Just block always. So it's a little bit past his thingamajigger there. Yeah, I was right. That move, meter burned, actually does more chip damage than the rifle meter burn does. It's just that those are all high and those are all low, so it's actually a lot harder to avoid the rifle. Only if you've got like a teleport that goes around the other side, like say Supergirl. That'll work to avoid it. Black Manta's character power will avoid it. But every character can just duck that. Well, there you go. It's not so good on block, but then again, block, what do we got? Movement mode, stand, no, duck. There we are. Okay. Doesn't seem quite as fast, but it doesn't seem like a particularly big nerf. So if that was, I mean, if he is nerfed on PC, then it's only, then the nerf was to when it whiffs, even though it still says there's no recovery. So it says no recovery, but the nerf is to on whiff. It's not as fast, and on block, it's really, really terrible. Although people shouldn't be blocking it anyway. To say it's -16 on block. Alright, so maybe he has been nerfed on the PC version. Just not on hit. But the fact of the matter is, one of the symptoms of the wrist gun was the fact that you could do this and then still land 2 shots. If you time it right, you can. I did it just before. But yeah. I did it before. On like my 3rd attempt. Now it's taken ages. Anyway. Oh, whatever. Maybe he has been nerfed, but it's hard to see on hit. Why on earth they gave the guy with all the guns the imperative to be up close, I have no idea. As far as I knew, most people were mad about the fact that he had great staggers and all of the zoning, so he had like all of this great zoning stuff, as well as great zoning as well as 50-50s. So he was good up close, sort of. I mean, not great up close, but really good at full screen. So he would force you to come in and at him, you know, his way, unless you did the pick of like Supergirl or something. Yeah, I don't know. I didn't really much take to Deadshot. I didn't quite. He's okay, but I mean, yeah. So that was another lab session thing to look at. Getting hot. It's getting hot in here. I don't know if I want to keep going much longer. Can't believe I spent half an hour crapping on about Captain Cold. I probably have stuff that I could think about with other characters, but I've not spent as much time with some of them, or, you know, can't think of things that would improve them or nerf them. It's got this funny thing, you know, about how Superman is, it's like, oh, you recommend, like, he's an all-rounded character, he's, like, learn to play Superman is great for beginners or something like that. Really didn't like and don't like playing Superman. He just seems so bloody slow. And obviously something is wrong with my gear setup, because when I play in the multiverse, I hardly ever seem to do any decent damage. But, you know, I do what is like the combo, or it was, but, you know, I spend a barometer, use my character power, and don't do more than 400 damage most of the time. That pisses me off. When I can take my, you know, Batman, who's not in this gear setup, different gear setup that I used to be using that actually had lower stats, and do more damage, well, maybe not more damage than I was doing with Superman, but do almost as much damage without spending meter. Not from anything like tricky, not the kind of thing that real people would get hit by, but what's poppin'? Nintendo Switch user, how are you watching Twitch then? I'm sorry, I didn't see that. When did that come in? Oh, I've suddenly got people watching. Suddenly got people watching. I was about to stop streaming, so you fellas can find somebody more entertaining to watch, because I'm about to go and have dinner or a shower or something. Good, huh? I'm not so good. But that's nothing new, really. Nothing new to me. It's, that's... should bear that in mind. I mean, the channel is called Joyless Gaming, after all. Was I the one moving the cursor around? Or was that just doing it by itself? I'm just... How come? Well, my doctor calls it depression. Taking medication for it doesn't seem to be helping. I just generally suck, really. That's about all I can say about it. It's not something that's easy to deal with or work with. But, I've got a lot of free time, so I just stream and make stupid videos for YouTube, so But this is weird. I've got people watching the stream now, and I'm ending the stream. This is... Oh well, you can go back and watch my prattling on about Captain Cold for 30 minutes. You could play. Yeah, well, yeah, unless you're on PC in Australia, I don't think you can play. But anyway, thanks for watching. Thanks for stopping by. I don't have a schedule, so I'm just, whenever I feel like it, this happens. It's usually in the evening for me, maybe later at night if I want to do Fallout 4. Xbox in UK, okay. Well, you have fun with that. You've got more people to play against. See you around. And anybody else who watches this later on, or when I stick it on YouTube, thanks for watching this relatively boring lab session video. I'll see you all next time. Bye now.